All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Clannad After Story, Episode 4. Sunahara arc is going.
It's going.
And he's...
it's really painful to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He is, he's a bit of a baka, but we knew that.
We knew that.
And his friends knew that. His sister knew that. She was worried about him. You know, he's still being a baka. But then, both, as a result of their actions, both Mei and Okazaki, Sunahara got hurt even more when he was already not doing too hot.
And this is something that we haven't seen the full consequences of yet. So that's probably going to be this episode. I very much hope that in a lot of ways it's over this episode, because I really do not want this kind of pain to continue for all parties involved. And I'd like some reconciliation. At the very least, I'd like some overt communication as well.
Right.
Because at this point, we're going on some really ridiculous scaffolding of miscommunication, which is creating a lot of humor.
Right. The idea of Sunahara fake dating Nagisa's mom, fantastic, hilarious. But then but he thinks that she's her older sister, which is the only thing that did.
We're keeping this going to the point where she's actually seeming like she's genuinely enjoying being with Sunahara, because she does.
Like she's having fun.
But he's misinterpreting that to the point that there might be some chance with her.
Right. Because I don't even know if Sanai knows that Sunahara thinks that she's the older sister. I don't know. Wait, no. He does,
but she doesn't know whether or not he's actually considering this to be a serious thing.
Right.
Because in a lot of ways, this is something where there's layers upon layers of miscommunication going on here.
And
we don't even fully know if he believes that there's a chance with her in a real life kind of dating situation.
Or is it just kind of his denial of wanting to have some W somewhere, because he seems to be constantly getting beat upside the head by life and by his friends,
and just taking L's in general.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yep. But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. I mean, they're not the rugby team, you know.
You're in denial, Kyo.
Yes, that is how that works, yes.
メイちゃん、やっぱり考え直さないか。うまくいく見込みは低いと思うぞ。
私、先に行って頼んでみます。
先にってサッカー部にか？
はい、岡崎さんと渚さんは待っててください。
How will they say no to this face?
And May's a shipper. She's like, just you two stay with each other. Build your relationship even more.
角原洋平よ。
高校サッカーは冬が本番だろう。まだ3年生だって活動できるはずだ。
復帰を許可していただけないでしょうか。
け、バカ言うなよ。あいつの名前は聞きたくない。
Wow.
出てけ。
兄がご迷惑をおかけしたのは知ってます。でもどうかお願いします。このままじゃ兄はダメになっちゃうと思うんです。だから
あいつは最初からダメなやつだったんだよ。
岡崎、お前も同類なんだからその辺よくわかってるんじゃないのか。
Wow.
それにそっちのあんたもダブリのはみ出し者だったよな。
ダメなやつはダメなやつらでつるんでろって。
ともやく
悪いな、急に押しかけて。お前ならこういうことでも相談に乗ってくれそうな気がしてさ。
全然構いません。ここにはいろんな問題や相談事を持ったお客様がいらっしゃいますから。
Yeah, like the guy that was just underneath your table the other day.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Was that actually the guy at the front with the soccer team? There?
I don't know.
Kind of looked like him.
あいつ1年生の時に暴力事件を起こしてるんだよ。うちの学校のサッカー部は昔から下級生は上級生に絶対服従でさ。先輩後輩の上下関係の雰囲気が良くないんだ。角原はそれが我慢できなくなったらしい。
Whoa. So he fought the whole team.
俺と初めて会ったのがその時だ。
Wow.
俺は別なところで喧嘩して、 職員室であいつと鉢合わせして、それ以来の付き合いだ。
それ
Yeah.
は初めて
Okay.
聞きました。
喧嘩が原因で、その時の新人
Oh.
篠原はそのまま退部だ。
サッカー部の方たちはその時のことをまだ忘れていないんですね。
If you had just got along with what was going on.
篠
Yeah.
原さんは楽しくサッカーができるんでしょうか。
Nope.
Yeah, going back to the team
でも
probably wouldn't help.
昔のお兄ちゃんに戻ってもらうにはサッカ
Nope.
ーしか。
Nope. Nope. Definitely not.
私の兄のことをお話ししたことありましたっけ。宮沢さんにもお兄さんがいらっしゃるんですか。
Spirit of the library, share your wisdom.
学校にはほとんど行かずに盛り場を歩き回って
That's the boy that was under the table.
警察のお世話になったこともあるような人です。兄弟って不思議ですよね。でもお兄さんのことが好きなんですね。昔は兄を怖い人だと思っていましたが、今では兄のことがよくわかるんです。いいところもたくさんあるのに、それを上手に自分の中から引き出せない。
Sound like somebody, Okazaki?
Yeah.
早苗さんも篠原のことをそんな風に言ってたっけ。
私も篠原さんには素敵なところがたくさんあると思っています。
Yeah.
サッカーじゃなくても何かきっかけがあれば、きっとメイちゃんの大好きなお兄さん
Wait, did we ever ask this girl if she would pretend to be his girlfriend?
Right?
いい加減にしろよ、お前。
何怒ってんだよ。メイだって僕のことなんか。
篠原だ。
Oh.
メイちゃんが今何やってると思う。
知らないね。どうせお前と仲良くやってるんだろ。
サッカー部のやつらに聞いてみろ。メイちゃんがどれだけお前のこと考えてるのかわかるはずだ。
お前。
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah,
わ
yeah.
かんねえよ。やんのかよ、岡崎。
Sure.
やめなさい。何やってんのよ。原因は何。りょうちゃんどうしたの。それが私にも。ともやくん。篠原くん、本当にどうしたんですか。
また行くのか、サッカー部に。
はい、昨日の宮沢さんのお話を聞いて、もう少し頑張ってみようと思いま
I
した。
mean,
待ってください。
勝手なことを言ってるのは分かってる。でもなんとか頼む。この通りだ。
へえ。岡崎が人に頭を下げるとはね。最近変わったって聞いたけど、本当だったんだな。
岡崎さん。
ボール拾いでも知ってろ。
yeah.
ありがとうございます。岡崎さん、ありがとうございました。素敵でした、ともやくん。
大したことじゃない。
Yeah.
それより
They didn't agree to
頑張ろうぜ。
anything. We will all be a single ball boy. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, just in case it
無理す
misses.
るなよ。お前あんまり丈夫じゃないんだから。
平気です。私より姉ちゃんに気をつけてあげてください。
玉拾い、取ってこい。
俺が行く。
Yeah, yeah.
Remember that thing about hazing?
バカ野郎。ちゃんとここまで運んでくるんだよ。
すみません。
Yeah, yeah. Now they're just being assholes about it.
Yep. So much for practice.
ともやくん。
あいつらわざと。
どうしたもうへばったか。
渚、メイちゃん、大丈夫か。
They've taken critical damage.
Yeah.
私も大丈夫
This minigame is not very friendly.
お前ら休んでろ。
Just hang out back there. Don't even, like...
Yeah.
ぼさっとすんなクズ。
Now, what would really suck is if you did all this and then found out that Tsunohara didn't even want to be back on the soccer team.
I mean, they don't ask what Tsunohara wants.
Yeah.
おう、お疲れ。
They know what's best for
他
Tsunohara.
の部員さんたちは。
帰ったよ。ねえ、なんだっけ。
兄の篠原洋平のことです。部に復帰させていただきたいって。
ああ、悪い。ダメだわ。お前の兄貴みたいな嫌われ者。誰が仲間に入れるんだよ。
あいつ、ヘタレだもんな。
根性なしのくせに吠えまくる負け犬ってやつ。サッカーもやめて勉強もできない落ちこぼれ。
お前ら分かってんのか。篠原のやつ、お前らが何してるか知ってるんだぜ。うちの後輩が聞かれたらしいんだよ。
There we go.
でもどうだ。お前の兄貴全然来ねえじゃん。
見捨てられたんだよ。妹がこんな真似してんのに、俺たちと揉めるのが怖くて逃げたのさ。
救いようのねえほどダメなやつだよ。
姉ちゃん。
ああ、なんかした。
いい加減うぜえよ、帰れ。
違う。
来ねえもんは来ねえんだよ。
お兄ちゃん絶対にメイのこと助けに来てくれる
もっと叫ばないとお兄ちゃんに聞こえない。
Okay.
てめえら。
おっと、この人数相手にやる気か。
ほら
この野郎。
ほらほら
Oh shit!
名誉泣かせるんじゃね
Whoa!
Yep.
え。名誉泣かせるやつは僕が許さねえからな。てめえ。
お兄ちゃん、篠原さん。
メイさん、メイちゃん頼む。
It's a fight!
Yep.
What? Why aren't you leaving?
This
Ah.
continued.
The storm is here.
Yep.
お前ら正気じゃね
目が言ってやがる。
Back to back.
勝ったのかな。
Maybe more like butt to butt on the ground.
お前さえちゃんとしてりゃこんなことにならなかったんだよ。ほんとダメな兄貴だよ。
喧嘩売ってんのか。
まあな。
Yeah.
智也くん、篠原さん、やめてください。
After all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
このバカ野郎。お前のせいでメイちゃんがどんな思いをしたと思ってるんだよ。お前がしっかりしないでどうするんだ。お前はメイちゃんの兄貴だろ。もっとメイちゃんのことを考えてやれよ。考えたぞ。メイちゃんが俺みたいな男に引っ掛けられてるのにお前何もしなかっただろ。心配しなかっただろ。したよ、心配したよ。じゃあなんで放っておくんだよ。言い訳があるなら言ってみろ。お前ならいいって思ったんだよ。
Yeah. Fucking dumbass.
渚ちゃんと別れるぐらいメイが好きなんだろ。だったらもっとしっかりしろよ。
I'm just really glad this is happening.
Yeah.
渚ちゃん、なんでここにいるの。
So.
Yeah. Let's talk it out. Fucking dumbasses.
Yep.
心配するなって。お前こそ疲れが
Look at
残
his
ってるん
face.
じゃない。
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
私は全然。
His one eye's a bit lazy. Like a bit like squinted there. Yeah.
Hey.
What's up, bud? I love you, bitch. Yeah, yeah. I ain't never gonna stop loving you, bitch.
Your face looks like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
どうしたのね。すごい怪我。
Oh, suddenly we're all here.
楽しそうなの。
The Purple Brigade.
Indeed.
メイちゃんから手紙が来たぞ。
電話じゃなくてわざわざ手紙。
Oh, good. She
と
left.
ことん義理がたいね。
お前のことをよろしくってさ。
Yeah.
それから自分も二人を見習って素敵な友達を見つけたいって。
Sweet.
学生時代の仲間は一生縁が切れないって言うからね。
Yep.
すげえドキドキしてきたよ。やめないよ。僕が愛する女性は早苗さんだけだからさ。
Like, oh, cool, me too.
Yeah. Okazaki, you bastard.
Father!
なんだ、パン買いに来たのか。
お父さん、早苗さんを僕にください。
あ？
Ah!
どうしたんですか、秋夫さん。
あきおさん。
智也くん、まだ篠原さんにお母さんのことをお話ししてなかったんですか。
お母さん、どういうこと？
秋夫さんは私の夫です。
てめえ、俺の女に手出す。待てくれ。
俺は初めてスノーに会った時のことを思い出していた。 そいつは金髪の変なやつだった。顔を見ただけで大笑いした。この学校に来てこんなに笑ったのは初めてだった。こいつと一緒にバカをやってみよう、そう思えた。
Yep.
角原と初めて出会った日、あの日から俺たちはいつもつるんでいた。そして今も俺たちは笑っている。
Ah,
Yep.
good shit, good shit.
Oh
All right,
boy.
well, the
Yep.
Sunahara arc is over.
Indeed.
I liked that it was resolved totally.
Yes.
I'm really glad that a lot of the bullshit was basically just thrown under the rug here and burned, and the rug was thrown out, and all this was done with, because in a lot of ways this was a comedy arc that went sour.
Sure.
And that's what Sunahara kind of represents. He's a comedy character that we have to take seriously. So whenever you would give him this much character focus, there has to be a fundamental aspect of it that is comedic. But once we start toying with his feelings to the point where we're being emotionally and manipulative abusers, it basically takes your characters that are your main cast and makes them unlikable.
Right. It's that whole thing.
And
I feel like it's a...
Yeah.
I don't want to use this word because I feel like it is, 1, overused, 2, pretentious a lot of the time, and 3, isn't fully accurate to the situation. But it's what comes to mind. Yeah. Deconstruction. The Sunahara type character that is basically the sometimes metaphorical, oftentimes literal punching bag for the other characters. Yes, slapstick humor can work and it can be great, but it can also just make the other characters seem like assholes.
Yeah, it's unfortunately also in the typical, I would say, story trope. It is a beta male that is there also to make the main male character look a lot cooler by extension.
Right.
And so when you deconstruct that to the point where it makes the main male character look like
pretty awful.
At the very best, I would say just a kind of a bad friend.
Sure.
Just in general. Like, he's not necessarily an asshole or a horrible person, but he's just not a good friend to Sunahara.
Right.
And that's just factual.
And the thing is that the circumstances of their friendship is something where it absolutely was one of convenience, and they didn't need to be great friends, and that's kind of what made them good friends.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, that's
Every
totally
friendship is going to be slightly different, and there's going to be a lot of things about relationships that you can't necessarily understand from the outside looking in.
And especially when you're in high school and you're really immature and stuff, the idea that you could have an arc that basically comes about because of convoluted stuff, but then also a lack of emotional maturity from its characters, then it makes sense.
Fine,
that's totally fine. And it makes sense that in the resolution, we would get something like a fight, because Sunahara and Okazaki would not actually be able to verbalize all the different problems that were going on.
In some ways that we have with the thing there, because this is the part that I also find to be something that's a little bit overplayed in this setup here. We have May.
Yep.
May is a character that is there with, in some ways, and the storyline kind of goes into it a little bit, but doesn't lay any of the not the fault, but basically the consequences at her feet beyond the emotional consequences of just seeing how much this hurts Sunahara.
Sure.
Is that she kind of has a brother complex. She kind of has built up in her mind that Sunahara has to do these things because he's her brother. And I like this because I'm not done. I like this because it sets up in some ways a situation where she then, by extension, says, well, because I'm the little sister, I'm going to do these things as well. And thus, in some ways, I almost see this as not really the deconstruction of Sunahara necessarily. I think that's part of it. But I think it's more the deconstruction of the family dynamic within the siblings. Meaning that we don't have to have these hard defined things that the older brother has to do and the little sister has to do. Because in some ways, like what Sunahara said, you can have someone that comes into your life that is more than just family. They're your best friend. They're the people you would trust with anything, even your little sister. So in some ways, I really don't have anything negative to say about Sunahara through this whole thing, even though he was blasé, if you will, about the interactions his younger sister was kind of
Right. The faults
doing.
the faults that Sunohara had that were showcased in this arc is nothing new.
Yeah.
It's something where, all things considered, I think Sunohara did a fairly okay job, right? Like it was something where it was kind of a shitty situation, and yes, he didn't respond to May's emotions and the inner concerns and things like that. But
she didn't really communicate.
She didn't really communicate them, so she really shouldn't expect them to. And she kind of got off easy in the sense that she still ended up getting her, oh, my brother comes in and saves me moment. But no, that's not the end exactly, though.
Right.
After that
wasn't the end.
After that, Sunohara and Okazaki are then going to fight, and they will fight because that's, they can't communicate to each other in words the kinds of things that they are feeling. So naturally it comes out in fists, and then, oh, hey, what do you know? That ends up being something that brings them back to how they became friends in the first place. And then they're like, okay, we're all right, dude.
And you know what I think is really sweet about this is that one of the issues I have with the Okazaki-Sunohara dynamic is sometimes Okazaki basically takes advantage of Sunohara in a way that I don't think is funny anymore. It's something where it's like, oh, that's a bit just bully-like. But hold on.
Okay.
I was using this as the foundation for the setup here, or the foundation for the punchline here. I think that Sunohara and Okazaki became equals in this fight again. There was an aspect of the fight being where, Okazaki, we're just beating each other up at this point. There's nothing about this where you're kind of like pulling one over on me. You, if anything, might have already done that with the, you're dating my sister. No, obviously you're not doing that. But then in that instance, they saw kind of each other being their brothers kind of thing again, because your face probably looks just as bad as mine does right now, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then when they see each other, and they're like, yeah, your face looks like they don't say it, but I can imagine they're just thinking, oh man, his face looks like shit.
Yeah.
When they first met, I can imagine it was probably something of, oh man, I might feel like I don't have my shit figured out, but this guy's got it way worse, and they're both thinking the exact same thing.
Exactly.
And so that's sort of, and then hey, it's able to work out, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, we still have Okazaki being like, I'm just gonna not tell Sunohara that, it was actually Nagisa's mom, not her older sister. But, I feel like Sunohara's got a better handle on those kinds of situations where Okazaki is gonna mess with him.
Yeah. They've built up a pattern at this point. There's a lot that could be said about it, but I think that, Sunohara would have had, his problems communicated at this point, given how much time they've spent doing this exact kind of shit. So I think in a lot of ways, Sunohara is just, pleasantly happy that he has his friend back with him again. And there's not really any malevolence coming from the lies being told to him, basically.
Right.
Because the May moment was one where Sunohara had to trust basically his friend of like, oh, shit. Okay. And I want to pull up something that is very like under the surface, but I don't think it's let's say in a positive rather than a double negative. I think it's worth noting. I mentioned this, I think, in the last episode or the previous episode's discussion. Sunohara likes Nagisa. Like, that hasn't changed just because Okazaki and Nagisa are together. So, from his perspective, right, he has this budding kind of something going on with this girl, Sanai.
Right.
But who is Sanai in his mind? Nagisa's older sister.
Right. Better Nagisa.
Yeah, just older, more mature Nagisa.
Right.
Then Okazaki breaks up with Nagisa for his little sister? What the fuck?
Right.
Okay, whatever, dude. You're weird. Cool. At least it's you.
Right.
But in his mind, I'll bet you he's probably dreamt or wondered, if Okazaki broke up with Nagisa, would I have a chance?
Sure.
And so maybe he was like, in the back of his mind, he's thinking like, I'm actually not too upset about that.
Well, and another potential avenue for
about.
it is that he's like, he could be thinking, bro, you know that I like Nagisa. If you didn't actually care about her that much,
yeah,
why
pull her along like that?
Yeah,
Why string her along like that?
Right. Why couldn't you have helped me out, dude? Like, you know, like.
Yeah, I'll bet you. Yeah, that's an unspoken thing that is just another thing that is frustrating about this arc. That I feel like that's there, but it doesn't have to be there.
Right. But, it's one of those things where it wouldn't make sense for these characters to actually talk about their feelings in depth because they don't even understand their own feelings. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so a fist fight is just how you have to do it. Right?
But then they go into these like multi-layered, complex miscommunication lies that then make people think things and read between the lines enough to not say anything.
Yeah.
It's why I just don't like melodrama and stories.
This is a super melodrama
It's
arc.
really hard to make it be sold. And apparently you're saying that the fans of Clannad don't like this arc.
A lot of people consider this arc to be the worst one.
Now, that might not necessarily mean they don't like it. That just means that it's the other arcs are so great that this one just looks kind of...
It's the general thing of like, oh yeah, there are a lot of problems with this arc, which there totally are. I guess it might be something where it's less that I like the arc and more that I actually really like Tsunohara as a character when he is dealt with seriously. So like, I love that this is something that happened, even if it ends up being something that's has a lot of melodrama in there. Yeah. And a lot of the melodrama is tied in with comedy that I really love. I just love the idea of it being like have Sanai pretend to date Tsunohara and have fun with it and you know and be understanding and emotionally mature enough to be able to like know what to do to make the whole thing.
I want to throw out something here that might be a structural problem, but something that I like because of how much I had problems with this arc in general. Was that it didn't progress anything. Now, that's a critique, I would say, for someone to bring up. But because I didn't like the progress of certain things in the direction they were going, I'm actually glad that they didn't make any progress this arc. And even though it did, in that we learned things, and probably the Tsunohara Okazaki thing is now theoretically stronger, it could have been the exact same if this arc would have never existed. But... who's to say? Who's to say? We'll see what happens in the later parts of the story.
Exactly. We'll see. It's more of the same, and we understand better of why that thing in their dynamic could potentially be very important and helpful for both of them. But
cool though. I think in some ways that's basically all there is to say. It's an arc that was used to set up a couple other things that might come into play later, like the stuff with the girl at the library.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And her brother that's totally not the one that was hiding under the table out of the time.
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, he's in the OP.
That's true.
Or, I mean, the ED. The ED. So that...
There is that.
Is probably him. But... we'll see how that continues. Nagisa and Okazaki, everything's going well with them still. Yep. And, the family will grow a little bit stronger. The little family of dangos,
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below. For our Patreon, you can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.